These are the waiver wire pickups for week 7. Number 1 on the list is Juju SmithSchuster. No leading wide receiver? No problem. No leading running back? No problem. The Chiefs didn't seem to miss a beat after re-signing SmithSchuster and Kareem Hunt. SmithSchuster ended up finishing last week's game with 7 receptions for 130 yards, and he seems poised to take over the chain-moving role in Kansas City. With Rashee Rice and Hollywood Brown both out for the year, the Chiefs need a reliable receiver who's familiar with their system. And given how much rapport SmithSchuster has with Patrick Mahomes and his familiarity with Andy Reid's system, I think he's going to have some consistent value for the rest of the year. Xavier Worthy is definitely talented, but he's still a bit raw and isn't quite ready to take over the number 1 role on this team. Many people probably forgot about SmithSchuster this week because the Chiefs were on bye, but he is absolutely a priority pickup. He's only rostered in 31% of leagues, and even if the Chiefs were to sign someone else for depth, he would have a leg up over anyone. Number 2 on the list is Kamani Vidal. The 6th round rookie has been chomping at the bit to show what he can do. And with Gus Edwards hitting IR this week with an ankle injury, he finally got his chance today. He ended up getting 4 carries for 11 yards, but he also had 2 receptions for 40 yards and 1 touchdown, and he seems poised to take over the 3rd down role on this team. It was encouraging to see him play over Hassan Haskins, and I think given how run-heavy this team is, and with Greg Roman at coordinator, he should be a pretty big part of this offense while Gus Edwards is out. Vidal has 3-down capability, he's pretty good in pass protection, which should earn him some reps, and even though he's going to be playing behind J.K. Dobbins, he should earn enough reps to have some weekly low-end flex value moving forward. He's only rostered in 11% of leagues, and given his pass-catching ability, he's probably a better pickup in PPR at this point. Number 3 on the list is Romeo Doss. Dobbs returned from a 1-game suspension due to conduct detrimental to the team, and he looked pretty good. He ended up with 3 receptions for 49 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he could have some value moving forward. Apparently he's been unhappy with his role and usage on the team, and today may have been a case of greasing the squeaky wheel, but given that Dontavian Wicks and Jaden Reed suffered injuries today, he could have some value moving forward. He's only rostered in 35% of leagues, and given how explosive this offense is, they can support more than 1 receiver. Number 4 on the list is Demario Doss. Douglas has been the leading receiver for the Patriots this year, which hasn't equated to much with Jacoby Brissett under center, but things may be different moving forward with Drake May. He may have a pathway to weekly low-end WR3 value. He finished today with 6 receptions for 92 yards and 1 touchdown, and this is on 9 targets, which is the 2nd week in a row he's seen that many. This offense may not be much better, but he seems primed to benefit from some bad game scripts and some serious garbage time. Number 5 on the list is Shawn Tucker. With Rachaad White missing today's game with a foot injury, it opened the door for Tucker to show what he could do, and he absolutely exploded. He ended up with 17 touches for 192 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he even added 55 yards in the return game for good measure. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how this backfield shakes out moving forward. Rachaad White was already losing a grip on his starting role, as we've seen Bucky Irving emerge over the last few weeks, and given this performance, Tucker is bound to get some more touches moving forward. At this point, he's more of a wait-and-see type of player, but if you have a spot at the end of your bench, I would definitely consider picking him up. Number 6 on the list is Isaac Guerendo. Jordan Mason suffered an AC joint injury and was effectively forced out of last week's game, and Guerendo stepped into the starting role. He ended up finishing the game with 10 rushes for 99 yards, and he nearly had a touchdown. Mason is day-to-day at this point, so it's difficult to say if he's going to miss time, but this is an injury that is easily re-aggravated, and if he missed any time, Guerendo would be a must-start. Guerendo's only rostered in 4% of leagues, and he is an elite handcuff and a great stash in all formats. Number 7 on the list is Michael Wilson. Marvin Harrison Jr. left the game with a concussion, which opened the door for Wilson today. He ended up finishing the game with 2 receptions for 21 yards and 1 touchdown, and if Harrison misses any time, he would operate as the number 1 receiver. Up until now, he's been the 3rd option behind Harrison and Trey McBride, but he's shown some pretty solid ability. He has a pretty low floor, but his ceiling is decent in PPR. He's only rostered in 16% of leagues, and his value is heavily contingent on the health of Harrison. Number 8 on the list is Devon Vele. The 7th round rookie looked pretty good today. He caught 4 receptions for 78 yards, and this is kind of a weird situation. He played in week 1 and looked really good, catching all 8 targets for 39 yards, and he's been mostly inactive since then, despite being healthy. Hopefully today earned him some more playing time. He is definitely a risky pickup, but if he's seeing the field the way he did today, he'll definitely have some value in PPR. Number 9 on the list is Damen Pierce. Pierce returned from a 4-game absence due to a hamstring injury today, and he looked pretty good. He had limited opportunities, only seeing 8 carries, but he had 76 yards and 1 touchdown. This is likely his ceiling as long as Joe Mixon is healthy and has a firm hold of the number 1 job in Houston, but if he were to get hurt at all, Pierce would have some low-end RB2 value. But at this point, he's pretty much an elite handcuff, and he has some low-end RB3 value in deeper leagues. Number 10 9 on the list is Grant Calcaterra. Dallas Goedert left today's game with a hamstring injury, and Calcaterra stepped in pretty admirably. He finished the game with 4 receptions for 67 yards, and he looked pretty solid. If Goedert were to miss any time moving forward, Calcaterra would potentially be the number 3 pass-catching option on this team, giving him some decent value, and given how thin the tight end position is, I think he's worth a speculative add in most formats. Those are the waiver wire pickups for Week 7. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and let me know which players you think we should pick up in the comments below.